What if the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is time, not talent, not luck, not connections, just your willingness to stay steady when nothing seems to be happening? Most people quit in the silent season. But what if that silence is actually the sound of success growing beneath the surface? There is a rhythm to life that cannot be hurried. The sun does not rise before its appointed hour. The seasons do not skip from winter to harvest in a single night. A seed placed into the soil does not burst into a towering tree by morning. Everything meaningful obeys a process. Everything lasting honors time. Yet we, as human beings, often struggle with this truth. We pray today and expect tomorrow's miracle. We work for a week and demand a lifetime of reward. We plant once and want to reap forever. But nature does not respond to impatience. It responds to consistency, obedience, and faith. Consider the farmer. He tills the ground, plants the seed, waters it, protects it, and then he waits. He does not dig up the soil each day to check if the roots are growing. He trusts the unseen. He believes in the law that governs growth. And because he respects that law, he eventually receives the harvest. Your success operates under the same divine principle. There is a sacred order woven into creation, a reminder that everything has its appointed time. Childhood precedes maturity. Training precedes mastery. Preparation precedes elevation. Even the strongest mountains were shaped by years of pressure and persistence. Even the brightest diamonds were formed in darkness. Why would your greatness be any different? When you feel frustrated because progress seems slow, remember this. Slow does not mean stagnant. It means forming. It means strengthening. It means becoming. The tears you cry in private. The prayers you whisper in the quiet. The effort you give when no one is watching. These are not wasted moments. They are roots growing beneath the surface. Emotional pain often comes from comparison. You see someone else shining and wonder why your light has not appeared yet. But you do not see their winters. You do not see their silent years. You do not see the nights they questioned themselves and still chose to continue. Everything valuable is tested by time. A strong character is not built in comfort. Faith is not strengthened in ease. Discipline is not forged in convenience. They are shaped through repetition, resistance, and resilience. And here is the spiritual truth that touches the heart. Delay is not denial. When something takes time, it is not proof that you are forgotten. It is proof that you are being prepared. Growth that happens gradually creates depth. Depth creates stability. Stability creates permanence. Imagine receiving everything instantly: wealth without wisdom, influence without integrity, success without struggle. It would collapse under its own weight. Instant results often produce fragile foundations. Gradual growth produces unshakable strength. Natural law teaches patience because patience builds capacity. The seed must break before it blooms. The soil must be dark before life emerges. There is discomfort in the process, and sometimes even pain. But pain is not punishment, it is transformation. When you feel like nothing is happening, something is happening. When you feel forgotten, you are being formed. When you feel delayed, you are being directed. Nature whispers the same lesson every day. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that what is planted with faith, nurtured with discipline, and watered with perseverance will eventually rise. And deep inside, you know this truth. You have seen it in your own life. The moments that shaped you most were not instant victories, but slow battles. The lessons that changed you were not learned in a day, but through experience and endurance. Success follows natural law. It grows quietly. It strengthens gradually. It reveals itself only when the foundation is ready to hold it. And every time you choose to keep going instead of giving up, you align yourself with that eternal rhythm of growth, that sacred unfolding that turns small beginnings into extraordinary destinies. Patience is often misunderstood. Many believe it means sitting still, doing nothing, simply hoping that life will improve on its own. But true patience is not passive. It is not laziness dressed in spiritual language. It is not an excuse to avoid effort. Real patience is disciplined action sustained over time. It is waking up when you do not feel motivated. It is studying when others are scrolling. It is practicing when no one is applauding. It is continuing when results are invisible. Patience is not waiting for opportunity, it is preparing for it. There is a sacred principle in life. Faith without action is empty. Belief must be partnered with work. Prayer must be accompanied by effort. Vision must be followed by movement. When you combine faith with disciplined consistency, you activate progress. Active patience means you plant the seed and continue watering it daily, even when the soil looks unchanged. You sharpen your skills while the world seems silent. You strengthen your character while doors remain closed. Because patience is not about standing still, it is about steady movement. Think about the athlete who trains for years before standing on a podium. The world sees the medal, but not the mornings of repetition, not the exhaustion, not the moments of doubt. That is active patience, disciplined preparation without immediate reward. Emotionally, this is the hardest phase of growth. There are days when you question yourself, days when progress feels painfully slow, days when comparison whispers that you are behind. But discipline answers with action. Discipline says, keep going. Discipline says, show up anyway. Idle waiting produces frustration. Active patience produces transformation. When you sit and wait for life to change, nothing shifts. But when you take daily action, even small action, you create momentum. Small efforts compound. Tiny improvements accumulate. One disciplined habit repeated long enough reshapes your entire future. Active patience also builds inner strength. It trains your mind to focus on process instead of applause. It teaches you to value consistency over excitement. It replaces emotional reactions with controlled responses. This is powerful because emotions are temporary. Motivation rises and falls, but discipline remains. Discipline anchors you when feelings fluctuate. When you practice active patience, you stop asking, why hasn't it happened yet? And start asking, what can I improve today? That shift changes everything. You begin to measure progress not by speed, but by growth, not by recognition, but by refinement, not by instant reward, but by long-term mastery. There is a quiet confidence that develops when you know you are doing the work, even if no one sees it, even if no one praises it. You feel stronger because you are stronger. Active patience turns waiting into preparation. It turns delay into development. It turns time into an investment rather than a burden. And here is the emotional truth that touches the heart. The person who keeps moving forward, even slowly, will always surpass the one who waits for perfect conditions. Success rarely comes to those who sit still. It comes to those who act consistently with faith, discipline, and determination. It comes to those who understand that patience is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right thing again and again, long enough for the results to appear. Patience is work sustained with belief. Patience is effort guided by vision. Patience is discipline in motion. There is something powerful about silence. It feels empty, yet it is often full of unseen activity. When nothing seems to be happening, everything may actually be forming. A seed buried in the soil does not announce its development. It does not make noise as it stretches downward to build roots. Before anything visible rises above the ground, an entire system is being created beneath it. Strength is being formed in darkness, and so it is with your life. The most important seasons of your growth may not look impressive. There is no applause, no recognition, no immediate reward, just quiet effort, just private battles, just daily discipline repeated without visible results. Emotionally, this is the hardest stage. You begin to wonder if your work matters. You question whether your prayers are being heard. You ask yourself if the sacrifice is worth it. Silence can feel like abandonment. It can feel like stagnation. It can feel like you are unseen. But silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. There is a divine wisdom in hidden development. Just as a child grows in the womb before entering the world, your potential grows in unseen seasons before it is revealed. Creation itself follows this pattern: formation first, manifestation later. The night sky appears still, yet entire galaxies are in motion. The ocean surface may look calm while powerful currents move beneath. What is invisible is often more significant than what is visible. When you study quietly, you are growing. When you practice privately, you are growing. When you endure hardship without quitting, you are growing, even if no one sees it. In silence, character is shaped. Discipline is strengthened. Faith is refined. When there is no external validation, you are forced to rely on internal conviction. That builds depth. That builds resilience. The world celebrates loud success, but it overlooks quiet preparation. Yet without preparation, success would collapse. Without roots, a tree falls in the first storm. Without foundation, a building cracks under pressure. The silent season protects you. It gives you space to develop without distraction. It shields you from premature exposure. It allows you to make mistakes privately, to correct them quietly, to improve steadily. Sometimes you may feel forgotten. But being hidden is not the same as being ignored. There are seasons where you are being shaped, not displayed, where you are being trained, not showcased. And this is where emotional strength is born. Because when you continue in silence, when you keep believing without evidence, when you keep working without praise, you develop unshakable confidence. Not the loud confidence that depends on approval, but the quiet confidence that comes from inner growth. Silence teaches you patience. Silence teaches you focus. Silence teaches you trust. It forces you to measure progress differently, not by attention, but by improvement. Not by noise, but by depth. The most powerful transformations are gradual and hidden at first. The caterpillar disappears before it becomes a butterfly. The metal enters the fire before it becomes strong steel. There is always a hidden stage before the visible breakthrough. So when your life feels quiet, do not assume nothing is happening. When recognition is absent, do not assume you are failing. When progress seems invisible, do not assume you are stagnant. Roots are growing. Strength is forming. Faith is deepening. And when the time is right, when the foundation is secure, and the structure is ready, what has been growing in silence will rise with undeniable power, revealing that every unseen effort, every hidden sacrifice, every quiet moment of perseverance was shaping something far greater than you could see. We often see delay as an obstacle, something standing between us and what we desire. We pray for doors to open immediately. We work and expect instant reward. We dream and want immediate manifestation. But delay is not designed to punish you. It is designed to prepare you. When something takes time, something inside you is being shaped. Waiting stretches your patience. It tests your faith. It exposes your true motives. It reveals whether you are committed to the vision or only excited by the outcome. In delay, excuses fade and character emerges. Anyone can stay motivated when results are quick. Anyone can remain positive when success is immediate. But it takes depth to remain steady when progress is slow. That depth is called character. There is a divine wisdom in postponement. If every desire were granted instantly, there would be no growth, no refinement, no transformation. Just as gold is purified by fire, the human spirit is strengthened by waiting. Heat removes impurities. Delay removes immaturity. Emotionally, delay can feel heavy. You may feel overlooked. You may feel tested. You may even feel forgotten. Watching others advance while you remain in preparation can stir frustration in your heart. But comparison is dangerous during delay. You do not see the full journey of others, and they do not see yours. Your timeline is uniquely designed. Waiting builds resilience because it forces you to endure discomfort without losing focus. It teaches you to manage disappointment without surrendering your vision. It trains you to stay disciplined when emotions fluctuate. Resilience is not formed in comfort. Maturity is not born from ease. They are developed when you must choose faith over fear, consistency over complaint, perseverance over retreat. Delay also builds emotional intelligence. It teaches you to control reactions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this teaching me?" That shift signals growth. That shift reveals maturity. When you are forced to wait, you learn patience. When you face obstacles, you develop strength. When you endure setbacks, you gain wisdom. The very things you wish would disappear are often shaping the person you need to become. Consider the strength of a tree that survives harsh seasons. It does not grow because conditions are perfect. It grows because it adapts, because it endures, because its roots deepen during storms. Delay deepens your roots, and roots determine stability. If success came before you were ready, pressure would crush you. Influence without maturity destroys integrity. Wealth without discipline invites chaos. Recognition without humility breeds downfall. Delay protects you from premature elevation. There is spiritual reassurance in this. What is meant for you will not pass you, but it may pause you to prepare you. Waiting seasons are workshops where your character is crafted. You are being strengthened internally before being elevated externally. When you remain faithful in delay, you build quiet confidence. You begin to trust that growth is happening even when circumstances seem unchanged. You learn that waiting is not weakness, it is development. Character is proven when no one is watching. Character is strengthened when nothing is happening. Character is refined when you refuse to give up. And one day, when the opportunity finally arrives, you will stand not just as someone who achieved success, but as someone who became strong enough to sustain it, because the delay that once felt heavy was quietly building the resilience and maturity that now define you. Impatience is the silent destroyer of greatness. It whispers, hurry. It urges, you're behind. It pressures, take the shortcut. And in moments of emotional weakness, that whisper can sound convincing. We live in a world addicted to speed. Instant messages, instant results, instant recognition. But anything built instantly is often built insecurely. A structure raised too quickly, without a proper foundation, may look impressive, but the first storm will expose its weakness. The same is true for success. When you rush the process, you skip the lessons. When you demand results without development, you build without strength. Impatience pushes you to chase outcomes while neglecting preparation, and preparation is everything. Imagine constructing a tall building. The higher you want it to rise, the deeper its foundation must go. The digging is slow, it is messy, it is unseen. No one applauds the foundation. But without it, the building collapses. Impatience says, skip the digging. Wisdom says, dig deeper. Emotionally, impatience often comes from fear. Fear of being left behind. Fear of not being enough. Fear that time is running out. You compare your journey to someone else's highlight and suddenly feel pressure to accelerate. But acceleration without alignment leads to instability. When you rush your growth, you may achieve quick results, but without character, discipline, and understanding, those results become fragile. Wealth without wisdom disappears. Influence without integrity crumbles. Success without self-control self-destructs. Impatience weakens foundations because it focuses on appearance over substance. It cares more about looking successful than becoming capable. More about speed than stability. More about applause than authenticity. True growth takes time because depth takes time. A tree forced to grow unnaturally fast develops shallow roots. The first strong wind uproots it. But a tree that grows gradually, season by season, develops a root system that anchors it firmly against storms. Storms will come. Pressure will come. Criticism will come. And only a strong foundation will hold you steady. There is also a spiritual principle woven into this truth. Process precedes promotion. You cannot bypass development without consequences. Life has a way of testing what you build. If your foundation is weak, the test will reveal it. That is not punishment, it is protection. When you allow yourself to grow patiently, you strengthen internally before you rise externally. You build habits that support success. You cultivate discipline that sustains achievement. You develop humility that protects influence. Impatience feels urgent. Patience feels slow. But impatience produces fragility, while patience produces durability. The rush to arrive often causes people to fall harder. Shortcuts may save time temporarily, but they cost stability permanently. Every lesson skipped today becomes a weakness tomorrow. Strong foundations are built brick by brick. Daily effort, repeated practice, consistent discipline. These may not look exciting, but they are strengthening you in ways you cannot yet measure. If you feel the urge to hurry, pause. If you feel pressure to force results, breathe. Ask yourself whether you want quick applause or lasting impact, because fragile success is loud but temporary. Strong success is steady and enduring. And when the winds rise and the pressure increases, only what was built with patience, integrity, and depth will remain standing, proving that the time you invested in building slowly was never wasted, but was strengthening the very foundation that now holds your success securely in place. Many people see it as an enemy, something slipping away, something working against them, something that creates pressure. They watch the clock and feel anxiety. They measure their progress against calendars and feel behind. But time is not your opponent. Time is your partner. When understood correctly, time becomes a strategic ally, a force that refines, strengthens, and amplifies everything you prepare for. Preparation alone is powerful, but preparation aligned with proper timing is unstoppable. A seed planted in the wrong season will struggle, no matter how healthy it is. But plant that same seed in the right season, and it flourishes effortlessly. The difference is timing. Emotionally, this truth is difficult to accept. You may feel ready now. You may believe you have worked hard enough. You may ask, why not yet? But readiness is not only about effort. It is about alignment between preparation and opportunity. Time creates that alignment. There is a sacred rhythm in life. Day follows night. Winter gives way to spring. There is an appointed time for growth, and there is a time for harvest. When preparation meets its proper moment, the results are multiplied. Think about the archer pulling back a bow. The pulling back feels like delay. It feels like retreat. It feels like resistance. But that tension is not denial, it is positioning. The further back the bow is drawn, the greater the force of the release. Time often pulls you back before it propels you forward. While you are waiting, you are sharpening your skills. While you are unseen, you are strengthening your character. While you are delayed, you are being aligned. If opportunity came before you were fully prepared, the impact would be limited. But when time allows preparation to mature, the opportunity produces exponential results. Time deepens understanding. What you learn in 1 year becomes wisdom in 5. What feels like struggle today becomes clarity tomorrow. Experience compounds. Knowledge matures. Perspective expands. And when the moment finally arrives, you step into it not as someone hoping to succeed, but as someone fully equipped to sustain success. There is emotional comfort in understanding this. You are not behind. You are being timed. The pauses in your journey are not wasted years, they are strategic seasons. Every lesson learned, every mistake corrected, every discipline practiced is being stored. Time is multiplying it. Pressure builds diamonds. Aging strengthens wine. Endurance builds mastery. None of these processes can be rushed without weakening the outcome. When you trust time as an ally, anxiety decreases. Comparison fades. You stop forcing doors open and start preparing for the right ones. You begin to see that delay is often direction. Proper timing does more than deliver opportunity, it magnifies impact. The right word spoken at the right time changes lives. The right action taken at the right time shifts destiny. The right preparation revealed at the right time creates influence. Time does not diminish preparation, it enhances it. When you continue working while you wait, when you keep refining while you are unseen, when you trust that alignment is forming even when you cannot see it, you position yourself for multiplied results. Because when preparation meets its appointed moment, success does not trickle, it unfolds with power, precision, and undeniable force, proving that time was never holding you back but was quietly working beside you, strengthening your readiness and multiplying the impact of everything you have prepared for. There is a powerful truth that many overlook. Success is not always about brilliance, it is about staying. Not everyone who begins will finish. Not everyone who dreams will endure. Not everyone who starts strong will remain steady. But the one who refuses to quit places themselves in a rare position, the position of inevitability. Endurance is the quiet force that separates intention from achievement. Talent may open doors, but endurance keeps you in the room. Inspiration may ignite a vision, but endurance sustains it when motivation fades. Emotionally, endurance is demanding. There will be days when exhaustion weighs on you, days when doubt creeps in and whispers that it would be easier to stop, days when progress feels so small it seems insignificant. In those moments, quitting appears logical. But logic does not build legacy. Commitment does. Endurance means showing up again after disappointment. It means standing firm after rejection. It means trying once more when failure stings your pride. Every time you rise instead of retreat, you strengthen your resilience. Resilience compounds. Each setback survived increases your tolerance for pressure. Each obstacle overcome expands your capacity. Each challenge endured sharpens your strength. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes manageable. That is how inevitability is formed. When others stop, you continue. When others doubt, you persist. When others withdraw, you advance. And eventually, the path clears not because it was easy, but because you outlasted the resistance. There is a spiritual depth to endurance. Faith is proven through perseverance. Belief is tested through delay. Many ask for victory, but few are willing to withstand the process required to reach it. Endurance transforms desire into destiny. Think of water carving through stone. It does not break through because it is stronger in a single moment. It breaks through because it keeps flowing, day after day, year after year. Persistence shapes outcomes. In life, opposition often weakens before determination does. Obstacles grow tired when you do not. Resistance fades when you remain consistent. The person who stays in the game long enough increases their probability of success with every passing day. Endurance removes the option of defeat. When quitting is no longer a choice, progress becomes the only direction. You may move slowly. You may stumble. You may pause briefly to recover. But as long as you do not abandon your pursuit, you are still advancing. This is where emotional power is born. There is confidence in knowing you cannot be easily broken. There is strength in recognizing that pain did not stop you. There is pride in understanding that hardship refined you instead of defeating you. Victory often belongs not to the fastest, but to the most consistent, not to the loudest, but to the most committed, not to the most gifted, but to the most persistent. Endurance turns possibility into certainty. Because if you continue improving, continue learning, continue adapting, continue rising after every fall, eventually opportunity intersects with preparation. And when that moment comes, it will not feel accidental. It will feel earned. Those who refuse to quit remove doubt from the equation. They make success a matter of time, not chance. They understand that temporary discomfort cannot compete with permanent commitment. And as the world watches outcomes, unaware of the silent battles fought behind the scenes, it becomes clear that the one who endured when others surrendered, who stood firm when others collapsed, who kept walking when others turned back, has transformed perseverance into inevitability, and inevitability into triumph. Do not measure your progress by the speed of your results. Measure it by the depth of your commitment. If you continue planting, nurturing, believing, and acting with patience, your season will come. Stay steady, stay faithful, stay consistent, because success is not late, it is simply growing.